Do you want to grow sales faster? You need more trust with your prospects and clients. Welcome to the 2021 Trust Building Challenge, brought to you by Selling from the Heart. Each day, you'll be challenged and equipped with new ideas to grow and sustain trust. You'll discover practical ideas that you can put to work right away to help you grow your sales. You're about to be coached by some of the world's foremost sales thought leaders and practitioners. This is going to be practical and fun. So grab a pen and notepad and get ready to take action as we join our hosts, Larry Levine and Daryl Amy.
Hello and welcome to the 2021 Trust Building Challenge. Larry, what's going on? This is going to be so much fun.
Hey, I tell you what, we didn't realize how much we realized that digital technology plays a role in our life, Daryl, huh?
It does. Hey, but we're here.
We're here and we're back.
We're pressing on, and we're glad everyone's joining us today. Look at all these folks coming in. We got Indianapolis. We got Charlton, Massachusetts. We got folks from all over. It's great to see. Look at Bill's already tagging people on here. Liz is in the house. Welcome, Liz. What's going on?
It was, you know what, Daryl? It was good to see Dave Tegmeyer in like 2 hours early.
Yeah. Hey, Dave, welcome. I think you got a front row seat to this. It's exciting watching people stream in. Look, we're so excited about all of the incredible coaches that we've brought to the table this week to be able to coach us in an area that is so critical to sales success, and that's building trust. We got a lot to say about trust, but as we go, we want to welcome you. This was a brainchild, Larry. We were talking this summer about what is the biggest challenge that we face as sales professionals, coming into this season, now fourth quarter right now as we're broadcasting live, and what's the biggest challenge we face as we move into 2022. And we're going to talk about this a lot, but I think it all boils down to trust. And that's why we're here.
Yeah. And I think what we're going to do, and I'm super excited about this, Daryl, is we're going to bring trust to the forefront. That's going to be simple, and you're going to be able to apply it to all facets of what you do in sales, but it's going to be very practical and very applicable.
Yeah, we've got a fantastic guest coming on later today, Marques Ogden, NFL athlete, author, coach, all of this.
And super great guy.
Super great guy. You're going to absolutely love his story and how it applies to building trust. A couple things as we get started. First of all, there is a LinkedIn group. It's a private group of all the participants in the challenge. I'm putting the link in the chat right now. If you're not a part of that group, I want to encourage you to join, because there's a great network of heart-centered sales professionals in that group, and you're going to get to know some really, really cool people in there. Second thing I just want to let you know about really quick, because this is pretty cool. Some of the folks in this challenge are joining us as VIPs. What does that mean? Well, it's a fancy way of saying we got a really sweet swag bag we're putting together and putting in the mail. But also on top of that, we're going to get together with some of our presenters and your fellow participants at the VIP party on Thursday evening. So if you want to be a part of that, let me put a link in the chat here as well. This just goes straight to a page where you can become a VIP participant. Not required, but once again, we got some sweet swag, and Larry, we'll show some of it off tomorrow. It's going to be actually pretty cool. And you can also hang out with us and get some extra access on top of that. As we start as well, one of the things at the beginning of the pandemic, we realized as a group, then this has just continued, is that right now in the middle of all this change and all these challenges, we need community. So I want to give a huge shout out as we begin today to all of the folks who, many of them are here in the Selling from the Heart Insiders group. Larry, the Insiders group, tell us a little bit about that, because it's been incredible.
Yeah, it was a year and a half or so ago, Daryl. We were just sitting together going, what could we do? What could we do to build community, get the name of Selling from the Heart out, find like-hearted, like-minded salespeople, and because of who we are. We said, hey, let's just call this thing the Selling from the Heart Insiders Group. And we brought some of our friends together to seed this thing. And it's been a blessing, Daryl. I mean, we get together every Friday at noon Eastern time. We coach and mastermind people on certain subjects. We bring thought leaders, authors, subject matter experts together, and we have a great time. The best thing about it is build community inside of a community. Everybody connects with each other. They hold each other accountable. They build friendships and kinships. It's awesome.
Yeah. So thanks to the Insiders Group. They're one of our partners here for this event. And if you're part of the Insiders Group, give a shout out in the chat. I'd love to see that. If you're not a part of the Insiders Group yet, we want to offer you a free pass to come to a very special up close and personal. As Larry said, we get up close and personal with some of the best thought leaders in sales, and watch this this sneak peek
and afterwards, everyone, I'll tell you the quick 30-second backstory on how this all came to be.
All right, here we go. Oh wow! Hopkins is coming to the inside.
So everybody, here's a quick. This is a quick backstory. It'll all unfold in the Insiders Group on October 15th. A couple years ago, I get this LinkedIn message from Tom Hopkins, and Daryl thought I was punking him. I get this message on a Friday afternoon from Tom Hopkins, and he goes, "I've been listening to the Selling from the Heart podcast. What does it take to come on the podcast?" And I said, if this is really Tom Hopkins, you don't need anything. You're a legend. Long story short, he came on the podcast. He's been on multiple times. He's a near and dear friend to Daryl. I asked him for a favor a couple of weeks ago, and he's coming into the group to hang out with us. A true legend. I know it's one of the first books both Daryl and I read in sales many, many, many years ago.
Yeah. So if you want to be a part of that, of course, if you're in the Insiders Group, you're going to be there. If you want to be a part of it, though, we want to invite you to get a free pass. So the URL's across the bottom. We'll put it in the chat here in a minute as well. sellingfromtheheart.net/free pass. That'll get you into the Insiders Group. Well, Larry, right now we're here because we got some challenges. Is anyone out there have any challenges as you're looking forward into 2022 and even this fourth quarter? We call this a challenge because we're going to challenge each other to take action. But the reality is there are some challenges, and I'm curious. In fact, if you're typing in the chat, like, what are some of the biggest challenges you're facing right now as sales professionals as you look forward into Q4 and beyond? We started thinking about some of these, and we there's a lot, right? Prospecting is a challenge right now. What about getting ghosted? Is anyone getting ghosted in the middle of a deal? Like all of a sudden it goes silent. Larry, lots of challenges.
There's a ton of challenges, and we're gonna over this week, we're gonna peel this back, and we're gonna help you bridge some of these challenges through trust and everything that you learned during this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all of this stuff, if you think about, the themes of the challenges that we face in sales, and you can see some of them here: deals stuck in the pipeline, upselling and cross-selling more to your current clients, that ghosting thing, client retention, avoiding RFPs, getting in the RFP trap, margins, limited referrals. You could add to the list, right? Deals grinding to a crawl. That's right, Bill. Nothing more frustrated than that. Outreach, the initial call. What do all of these have in common? Go ahead, Larry.
No, they all have in common is, listen, we live in this, oftentimes the listeners in the Selling from the Heart podcast, we talk about life in a post-trust sales world. Let's just get it out there. Trust, unfortunately, is at an all-time low. People are skeptical about everything salespeople have to say, and they think salespeople are full of what. So we gotta bring this to the forefront and understand how to overcome all three of these things.
Yeah, this is the issue right now. What is common with all of these sales challenges? The reality is that trust helps every single one of them. Deals stuck in the pipeline, trust, prospecting, more trust. We like to say it, Selling from the Heart, more trust, more sales. And I think Stephen M.R. Covey says it the best. This book is fantastic, by the way. If you don't have a copy
Go
The
grab one.
Speed of Trust. You want to grab it. It's a fantastic resource. But just the title itself, I think, says it all. And right at the beginning of the book, he says, nothing is as fast as the speed of trust. Nothing is as fast as the speed of trust. And if we want to speed up sales, whether it's prospecting, whether it's pipeline management, whether it's managing our clients, getting more referrals, all of these things that are challenges, to me, trust is like the oil that makes it all work. High trust, lots of sales. Low trust, and everything comes to, it gets really, really frustrating.
Yeah. Again, I'm going to go back to the relationship aspect of this, Daryl, because no trust, relationships just come. I'm going to take what Bill McCormick said about things come to us, a crawl. No trust, relationships come to a crawl. Referrals come to a crawl. The more people you know inside that company comes to a crawl.
That's
so we're
right.
we're gonna tackle this and bring this head on. Here's what's really interesting about it is some of the oldies are still some of the goodies. We make reference to Tom Hopkins. We make reference to Stephen M. R. Covey. We can learn so much from the legends in sales.
Absolutely. And so as we get ready for Marques to come on stage here, he's back in the green room chomping at the bit. He's so excited about this. We want to share, we're going to do a little math. Like, what? Math? We can't do math. Well, we want to share what we feel is a trust formula. Like, what are the ingredients of trust? If you don't like math, consider this a recipe, right? Maybe you hate math. Maybe you like to cook. Either way, it's good. We started thinking as we were putting this challenge together, like, what is the essence of trust? What are the ingredients? We're actually inspired by our coach. You're going to meet our coach, Dave Sanderson, later this week. If you don't know Dave has a great formula. He'll probably share, but it got us thinking, like, what's the formula for trust? So we put one together. Would you all like to see it?
Well, please share.
Thank you. Let me see if I click the right button. Here we go. So trust, students, like math teacher, I'm in shock. Trust. I'm having flashbacks. Help me, Larry.
You're a nerd. I'm telling you, you're a nerd, man.
To the core. Trust equals AR plus MV multiplied by IE and DH.
Okay, so
all right, everyone, everyone got that?
I will go through these as Daryl clicks. So the AR is authentic relationships. The MV is meaningful value.
Let's pause here.
Okay.
Let's pause here because to me, these are the two sides of the trust coin, right? You got to have authentic relationship. And relationships are critical. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. We're going to talk about authentic relationship. And relationship is great. But if you have relationship without value, you just have a good friendship, right? If you have meaningful value, and meaningful value will unpack, but that's value that's meaningful to your buyer, but you don't have a relationship, then you just got a good idea. But it's the combination of the authentic relationship and the meaningful value that begins to build trust. And this is where, we look at the trust coin. We gotta have credibility. We also have to have competence. We got to build the relational side. We have to build the value side. So we're going to be unpacking that this week. But we all know those two. And there's a multiplier though, right, Larry?
This is exponentially a multiplier. It's around IE, which is inspirational experiences, Daryl.
Yeah. So experience, we live in the experience economy. It's become one of my favorite books, The Experience Economy by Joseph Pine and James Gilmore. This is the book, by the way, that Disney reads. So if you want to know what they read, I was talking earlier this year to a former Disney Institute employee, and I said, "What do you read?" He goes, "We read The Experience Economy." Why? Because experience is a differentiator, and as sales professionals, we have the opportunity to create incredible, inspirational experiences. And in a world where there's a lot that's the same, products are the same, all of that, experience is important. But there's one more differentiator that we can't forget on here, and that is DH.
Yeah, and we're going to smash this all together with disciplined habits. And
disciplined habits.
If you can take this equation to heart, watch what happens to trust. Trust is the accelerator in sales.
Yeah. So this is where we're going this week. Trust equals authentic relationships times or plus meaningful value. Got to have both, but we want to multiply it by an inspirational experience and disciplined habits. And so this is, this is the game right now in terms of sales. Is what we need to be able to do is we need to be able to build trust quickly and sustain it. So what we were been thinking about, we'll give more detail on this as we go through the week. But we've been thinking about how can we apply this to the 3 phases of the sales process, right? So if you think about over here on the right side, you've got authentic prospecting, you've got selling, that process of moving things through the pipeline, and you've got client management. And the bottom line on all of this, Larry, I believe, is the more trust we have, the more sales we're going to get. Just trust, it fixes all of these core issues. So throughout this week, and you're going to have more details, we're going to invite you to learn about the Selling from the Heart Trust Building Intensive. It's going to be a limited program for 12 participants, but we're going to go deep in coaching you. We're going to share more details throughout the week, but there may be some of you that are just like chomping at the bits going, yes, I want that. And if that's you, just message us. We'll get you the details.
Or go ahead and, or Daryl, I just say, go ahead and just drop it in the chat if you're interested.
Yeah,
to get you some
absolutely. So
on it.
We're going to do that. Look for that throughout this week, but we got to get to the main event today. And the main event is none other than our friend, Marques Ogden. And Marques is got an incredible story, Larry. I'm so excited. This is a former NFL athlete. This is an author. This is a business coach and an all-around great guy. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2021 Trust Building Challenge. Marques Ogden, what's going on, Marques?
What's going on, Marques?
Hello, Larry. How you all doing today?
Good. This is
this
is awesome. You know what I got into thinking as I was going through as we were rolling out the equation. I tell you what, when it comes to the disciplined habits side of this, it so aligns with you, Marques, your story and all that. I mean, I can't wait for you to dive in and share your story, how this integrates with trust. I mean, I know some of the Selling from the Heart insiders already know Marques, but guys, you're in for a treat with Marques Ogden, let me tell you.
Yeah. So
take
it away, Marques. This is going to be good.
I just wanted to reiterate what Larry said. Discipline, one of the great quotes by Jim Rohn, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishments. And I tell my clients all the time, a goal is what you want to do, an accomplishment is what you've done. And we're talking about trust. Goals are nice. They need to be set. They need to be achieved. But a goal is not trustworthy of someone to hire you. Your accomplishments, what you've done and what you've helped others do, that is what I call the trust factor and the discipline part of it. Because if you don't have that set process of how to turn goals into accomplishments, trust will not be built. And if trust is not built, like you gentlemen have been saying this whole time, sales or converting sales is very, very hard.
Spot on.
So good. Well, hey, we're so excited to hear your story. So we're going to hand the stage over to you to dive in. Marques, you have an incredibly inspirational story. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Marques Ogden. Whoa!
Well, Daryl and Larry, here's where I'll start out. So everybody, I'm from Washington, D.C. originally, born and raised Northeast. I went to St. John's College High School, the same high school that Kevin Plank, who owns Under Armour, went to. Played football there, had a lot of great experiences, had a lot of great friends, and I ended up getting one scholarship offer to play football at Howard University in Washington, D.C., which was amazing because my father also went to Howard University, played football for the Bison, so I got a chance to carry on that legacy. There was a trust factor between me and Howard from day one, because my father went there, played there, had a lot of friends there. So a lot of times young athletes or young people in general going to college may not have a trust factor with the university or the college because they don't really know it that well, haven't really been on their campus much. But for me, I was on Howard's campus a lot as a young person with my dad and my mom and my friends. So going to Howard for me was huge. And I had a lot of trust in Howard, and I really enjoyed my time there. I studied business finance. I worked different jobs like Merrill Lynch in Washington, D.C., downtown 21st and K. I interned different sports programs, and I actually wanted to be an investment banker and work on Wall Street in New York City. My dad worked in New York for a while, then came down to work in Washington, D.C., and that was always my dream. But the National Football League had a trust factor with me a little bit as well, because my brother, Jonathan Ogden, was the Ravens' first ever NFL draft pick of the Baltimore Ravens. And I ended up getting drafted to the National Football League by a guy that knew me, and as Larry and Daryl say all the time, trusted me to some degree. Jack Del Rio, who was the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars at the time. I had known Jack since I was probably about 16 or 17 when he was the Ravens linebacker coach. So he knew I was always up there watching my brother, watching the Ravens. So he got to know my habits as a very hardworking, studious, disciplined young athlete in college, which gave him that trust factor that hiring me or drafting me per se to come and be a Jaguar and be under him was a good fit for him and a good fit for me. So got drafted to the National Football League to, again, the Jacksonville Jaguars, had an amazing almost 6 years career in the National Football League. Played with some great guys. Again, Jack Del Rio, Brian Billick. I played for Mike Mularkey, Dick Geron, Jeff Fisher. And it's interesting, you talk about trust. The players that I played with that really got along and trusted either their position coach or their head coach really shine in the National Football League. And I think that's a big factor today that's not really talked about a lot when it comes to athletes and sports and winning. Yes, you have to have great talent. Yes, you have to have a great mindset. But let's take the Arizona Cardinals right now. They're 4-0. Kyler Murray has a lot of trust in Cliff Kingsbury, his head coach. And because of that, I believe Kyler Murray plays not just the top of his ability, but he goes a step beyond and pulls out of his own self more greatness because of the high level of trust that he has with Cliff Kingsbury. And again, same thing with Tom Brady and Bruce Arians. You know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see the best relationships between players, coaches, business owners, their employees. Trust is the major foundational pillar of a great business. So after my NFL career, I left the NFL, and for about 6 months, I got addicted to gambling, nightlife. I made some pretty bad mistakes. I just wasn't taking care of myself. And thank goodness, after about 6 months, again, like I said earlier, I founded a construction company, Caden Premier Enterprises. We were a African-American owned, minority business certified subcontractor. We did dirt work. We did earth work. We did demolition. We did sediment erosion control. We worked for a lot of major contractors. We built trust with GCs and developers that we could not only win a job, but do a job to the highest level of the scope of work. And so we kept that mentality. And after 3 years, we became the largest African-American owned subcontracting company in the city of Baltimore and the state of Maryland for 2 years. And I tell everybody, the company had great success. The company was working for these big developers, these big contractors, a lot of things that, Daryl and Larry mentioned earlier about discipline, authenticity, value. We brought all those things to our clients. So it's not surprising when I look at it today why we had a lot of success. But here's the problem when you have success, if you're not disciplined to know how to handle it. I got very pompous. I got very arrogant. I got very self-centered, and I got really fixated on one person's success. myself. That's it. And the trust factor between me and my employees deteriorated every single day in 2012, because after I won a big award in 2011, going to that next year, something in me changed. I got real focused on chasing what I call glory. I got real focused on trying to always have the last word. And I always exaggerated how good I really was. So to me, the acronym EGO came into play. Exaggerated, glorified opinions. I exaggerated again how good I was. I always chased glory. If something went right, I wanted the credit. If something went wrong, I passed the blame. And opinions. Marcus, let's try doing it this way. Yeah, okay, but how about we try it this way? I always had to have the last word. And so the trust that took me years to build with my team deteriorated day after day after day. And eventually, my best people ended up leaving the organization. That, in conjunction with doing a job for a big developer and contractor where I spent over $3 million of my money in about 3 months' time, that ended up getting me in a position where I was tapped out financially. All of my team, my best team, especially my best team players especially, were gone. And I looked up, and when the bank shut us off, when they shut down our line because they no longer trusted me and Caden, I was over-promising and under-delivering every single time between August 2012 and February 2013. So once they shut us off February 2013, I knew at that time my life was over from a Caden perspective. I had to shut down my operation. I lost everything. My home was foreclosed on. Both of my cars were repossessed in the same day. The day I got down to Raleigh in April 2013, it was actually April 14th, 2013, both cars were repossessed exactly 4 days later. April 18th, 2013, the repo man who was calling me time after time after time came and got both the cars, drove them off of my driveway, and I had no car. We had no $400 in the bank. We had, I did have a job, and my wife was able to go and get a very beat up used car for me to continue to work and her to continue to work. And we shared a car for about 3 months. And I was just in a really dark place, all because I got real ego driven. I got real self-centered, and I broke the trust between me and my employees. And I broke the trust between me and my bank. And as a result of that, I'm down and I'm out. So I'm here in Raleigh, and I'm making money at Merrill Lynch as a financial planner. After 2 months, they fired me as a result of my not doing what they trusted and hired me to do. I was not doing well on my practice exams to get my Series 763 financial planning license. So they had to let me go. Got a job the next day to a construction company. 5 days later, I'm fired again. They end up shutting down the sales store to the operation. I'm out of a job. The only job I could get, along with coaching football to the youth, I started a small business teaching kids football because that's all I knew. I took a job as a custodian in September 2013 because all of my kids I was training in football were getting ready to go into season, playing, so they weren't training as much, which means they're not training as much. They don't need as many sessions. And I ended up having to take a job as a custodian, making $8.25 an hour. This is after an NFL career. This is after I built an 8-figure-a-year business. I'm down, I'm out, and I hit a job for $8.25 an hour. Now, the job was a job, right? That's what I had to do. I had to regain the trust with my fiance, who's now my wife, that I could at least get going in the right direction of trying to work. My rock bottom moment of clarity, though, when I realized that if I was going to get my life back on track, the person I had to rebuild trust with first was myself. I didn't trust myself after I lost my business, after I lost my home, my cars, because I felt like a failure. I felt like nothing I would ever do in my life would be good enough. So I didn't trust myself. But my rock bottom moment of clarity, when somebody's spoiled milk, rotten banana peels, horrible, protruding, nasty garbage got all over my body, my skin, and my clothes. In September 2013, about 4:30 in the morning, taking my trash out on my shift like I normally did, that's when I said, wow, Marques. And I put I cleaned myself up to the best of my ability, sat down on the curb right by the trash can, put my head in my hands, and I started to cry for 10 minutes. After crying, I got up. I told myself, Marques, let's go home. Got home, sat down at my little broken down table in my kitchen, and I said, Marques, in order to regain trust with yourself, what 3 things do you do best? I realized I was a good communicator, I was good at telling stories, and I wanted to help people. So I said, I've heard about this guy, Anthony Tobbins, something like that. Oh, yeah. Tony Robbins, that's his name. He's a speaker. He was a janitor. Pooh, I got it. Let's go, Marques. You'll build your next empire. Started speaking September 2013. For 2.5 years, not one paid job, not one. Nobody trusted me to come into their organization and speak with any, and I'm going to use what Daryl and Larry did again. I was authentic. Yes, I was. But the value add, absolutely not. Because all I did was talk about football and the good old days, and people in corporations, like, they might want to hear a little bit about that as part of the overall story, but they don't want to just hear about that. I'm not going to talk to you guys about that all day. It's about what things did I go through, football, business, life-wise, that can add value, like Larry and Daryl said, to your life. So basically, I was just a speaker that was a friend per se. All of my jobs were free because I had no value. Finally, I wrote a book in 2015, started to add a little value to people, got my first paid job in April 2016 from Miller Mock College in Wilmington, North Carolina. Did that job, got great testimonials, great feedback. I started to build what we call, or I still call to this day, my trust archive. Built that up, learned how to get coached, learned how to bring value, learned how to be a little bit more disciplined. And in the last 5.5 years, I've worked for 27 Fortune 500 brands as a speaker. Of the 27, 13 are Fortune 100. And of that, I think like 5 are Fortune 50. I think like 1 or 2 are Fortune 25. Like Daryl and Larry said, again, ladies and gentlemen, the value's there, the authenticity is there, the emotional connection is there, the discipline is there. So they trust me. As a result of that, we have a lot of speaking clients now, consulting clients, coaching, great guys like Larry and Dale have us in their network because I've learned how to build trust. And I love what they did with that overall screen they showed, because that screen image is really what a lot of people miss to get from A to Z. So I'm going to challenge you right now. Are you focused enough? Are you authentic enough? Are you real enough? And are you disciplined enough to build trust with people to increase sales conversions? I can't answer that for you. I'm just asking you, are you good enough? And are you really ready to put yourself in a position of going all the way? Now, how I like to build trust are 3 things. 1, competency. People know when they hire me to do a job. speaking, coaching, consulting, brand ambassador. I am competent at what I do. I'm not going to do something I say I can't do. If I'm going to do marketing for you, be a board member, be a consultant, be an advisor, for goodness sakes, I'm going to be competent at what I say. The biggest way to break trust with somebody is to say you can do something, ladies and gentlemen, and in real, true terms, you can't do it. That's not going to work, because if you don't have competency in what you do, it's going to break down, and people are going to realize that at some point, and that's when trust gets broken. That's number one, is competency. Number two is reliability. I learned this playing football. If a meeting was at 12 o'clock, don't show up at 12, don't show up at 12:01, don't show up at 11:59. Bill Belichick says, if you're on time, you're late. This is where most people in business end up having problems in creating and sustaining trust. If you tell a client or a potential client you're going to do something by a certain day at a certain time, get it done. We have a podcast called The Levin Marcus Show. We interviewed Tom Ryan, who is the head wrestling coach at The Ohio State. He said, champions find ways to get it done. Non-champions make excuses. Same thing in business. If you're going to do something for somebody, get it done. The time you say, the day you say. That's competence, that's reliability. And the third factor is going to be have your clients or potential clients' best interests. Don't try to sell something to somebody they don't need, okay? If you know they need it, try to create value add, build trust, and then provide that service. I never sell a client something that I feel they don't need or won't help them, because I don't want to take somebody's money and try to do something for somebody that I know I cannot get done, or I know that they don't need. So it's very important to have your client's best interest at heart every time you walk and go down the path. So again, 3 things you need to do to build trust. You need to be making sure that you're competent. So you have to have competency. Be reliable, reliability, have people's best interests. That's 3. Those are the big 3 keys to build trust. And I'll leave you with this acronym for LEAD. Leaders are individuals that do something for a cause that's greater than themselves. When I think about leaders, I think about people like Dr. King, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, Rosa Parks. And it's really interesting. All those people I just named, people trusted them to the end of the earth and beyond. Dr. King, people followed him any and everywhere. Rosa Parks, same thing. Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, Gandhi. It's amazing how the best leaders build trust with people, where people will follow them wherever they go. So the acronym LEAD, the L stands for leaders. Be a self-inspired, self-starting leader. Do not wait for people to tell you what to do, where to be, when to be there. Be self-inspired. Be a self-starting individual. People can see that. When they see it, they flock to it. The E is engage. Be present in the moment. That's huge. I'm talking to you all right now, and you want to be present in the moment to make sure that you all are understanding what I'm doing and I'm focused on the task at hand. A is adapt. In times of difficulty, times of uncertainty, the best leaders can pivot, they can tweak, they can make changes to help them do what? Stay ahead of the competition or to serve their clients better. And then the D is deliver. Deliver high value, deliver the best product when the lights are on or you are on stage. Those are huge things that great leaders do. They are leaders that engage, that adapt, and they deliver. So in closing, and we're going to bring it back and let Larry and Daryl come on, it's very important that you build trust by being competent, being reliable, having people's best interests. Be a great leader. Be a leader that is self-starting, be engaged, be somebody that can adapt under pressure and deliver when times call for it. And 5 keys that Aristotle talked about 3,000 years ago to help you be successful in life. 1 is your character. Have good character and build people to know that you are the person you say you are. Number 2 is emotion. Bring emotion in what you do. It shows that you are authentic. 3, provide a reason for people to want to work with you, trust you, and build with you. Metaphors. People love stories. What I say even more specifically, people love a hero story. Somebody that's gone through a lot and has risen from the ashes. And the last one is be concise. People have no time to waste. So again, your character, bring emotion, provide the reason, tell metaphors, and be concise. Doing all those things, I think, will help you build trust with people, which will, I believe, help you increase sales conversions and help you in your business be in a better place. Gentlemen? You guys are on mute.
All right. Wow. There we go. We'll get Larry unmuted as well. I was just going to say, I'm taking so many notes here that I feel like it's just, Marques, incredible. What a story. What a turnaround. Talk about a hero's journey on this, and the inspiration that you are to all of us and to the people that you touch is just incredible. So wow, we got some questions coming in though, Larry.
Hey, but Daryl, before we get to the questions, there's one thing I want everyone to key in on how Marques brought this to a close. It was really interesting. I'm a big believer, what's forever old is still forever new. We talked about Tom Hopkins in the beginning and Stephen M.R. Covey. Marques ends with quotes from 3,000 years ago. People, there's things that we can learn from some of the greatest people of our past. So that being said, there's some great questions, Daryl, in here for Marques real quick.
Yeah, well, Christine asked Marques, how were you able to sustain your drive and passion when things got really tough?
Christine, that's a great question. So my father, who was my best friend, my mentor, my guiding light, gave so much of his life, sacrificed so much of his life for his boys to have a better life than him. Football, life after. So when I lost everything and I had to rebuild myself, and when I was starting my speaking career, and I was getting told no and no and no, I thought about all that my dad went through as a single parent to raise us, all the things he gave us, better advantages, better chances. And I said, Marques, if you quit on yourself, and my dad had passed away at that time, he had been gone for 7 years at that time. I said, if you give up on yourself, you're also giving up on dad. And giving up yourself, it's not acceptable, but maybe you can make yourself feel pity party and that makes sense. But giving up on your father, your dad, your guiding light, no matter what, unless you are no longer breathing, is acceptable. And that's what I did. I focused on what he laid out for me, what he allowed me to do, the chances that he gave me. And as a result of that, I kept going. And then when I got my first paid job and got coached, I always give my father and, of course, the heavens above a thank you, because without them and without that, and Aristotle has another great quote: in times of extreme darkness, focus on the light.
Yep.
It seems so simple, but a lot of people, when you have darkness coming in from every angle, every way, it's hard to find that glimmer of light, a glimmer of hope. But I just had my dad as that small glimmer of light through all the chaos, the bankruptcy, the creditors. I owed over $5.5 million of debt when I filed my bankruptcy. I had 177 creditors. My lawyer said I had the most creditors they have ever had on any docket, period. So these are all the darkness things coming. So I saw my dad, the glimmer of light. I kept going. And today my dad and his light has pushed out a lot of the darkness.
That's so powerful. So powerful.
Well, Tegmeyer's got a question, our good friend Dave, and we talk a lot about this in the Insiders group. But what does the morning routine look like for you, Marques?
So I'm up at 5 a.m. I help my wife and daughter get off to school. I'm at the gym by 5:30. I lift. I do either basketball for cardio, swimming for cardio. Then I come home. We just closed on our new home last Monday. So you all are the first virtual talk I'm getting from my new office.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm here in my new office. But when I get home, I take care of stuff. I wash clothes for the day, all that type of stuff. But I'm in my office and I'm working. And then from there, my day gets rolling. But I always start my day in my morning with the gym to help, again, give me better focus and better clarity to kind of get my day going in the right direction.
Yeah, great. One more question here as we wrap up. Jeff wonders, have you ever worked for someone you don't trust? No.
It's interesting. The answer to that question is yes. And what I realized is once trust is broken with somebody between me and them, at that point, I can no longer work with them. And if I owe them a refund or something that they haven't completed the scope of work, then I'll figure out what I owe them in a refund and I'll send it out to them. I've only had to do that one time with coaching. And it was too bad because the guy really didn't want to do the work. Like he wanted me to help him get introduced to people. I would introduce him to people. I said, hey, contact this person, call this person, follow this lead. And he was like, okay, never did it. And then he would look at me like, well, Marques, am I getting any speaking jobs? Like, well, have you contacted this person? Well, no. Did you email this person? Why would I? Well, they're supposed to contact me. Like, no, like if I'm the one introducing you and I have to call them or I have to email them, why would you not? So it's very unfortunate that case happened. But from then I learned, I went to people through like a vetting process. And after that, I have had no longer any issues with clients that don't get the work done.
So good. Well, Marques, final words. This has been so inspirational. What would you like to leave us with today as we get ready to say goodbye?
I will leave you with this. Don't be afraid to show your emotional, vulnerable self to individuals. For some reason, our society thinks, being, vulnerable or showing weakness or showing, mistakes or showing things, your failures is wrong. And I'm like, well, let me ask you this question. Do you know who Warren Buffett is? Most everybody says yes. 100% of people say yes. I said, do you know that Warren Buffett has a saying? I read this in the book. Warren Buffett will not invest with somebody that has not failed 3 times. Won't do it. He said, you fail one time, it maybe you get it not 2 times, I'm not sure. That 3rd time, though, you really learn. You know what? He's 100% right. I failed first time in a clothing business. I failed another time trying to launch a little side business of health and wellness. Failed miserably with my construction company. That 3rd failure really woke me up. And that 3rd failure was my worst. It was my most detrimental. It put me in a really bad mental space. And because of that, I had to figure out how to get my life back on track. So Warren Buffett, as usual, very successful people like him were spot on. So again, there's nothing wrong with being vulnerable, sharing mistakes. I do it all the time on social media. Larry follows me, Daryl follows me. I don't hide, I don't try to be this perfect coach, like I know it all. One of my clients today said, hey, Marques, when you coach me, can you try this approach? And when you do things for our group, can you put some things in the webinar that are more interactive? I said, Dom, great idea. Thank you very much. I'll add that into your coaching, and it's the way we do things for you all. Because they're a younger group. They're like, 20s, 30s. So when I think things people like 40s and 50s, they're being straight for 20s and 30s. So my point is that I took that feedback, I took that honesty from him, and I'm sharing now with you all, whoever else, because it doesn't make me a bad person, not successful. It makes me somebody that realizes I can get better at my craft. And being authentic and sharing your vulnerability, I feel, will make people do what? Relate to you and trust you. Ask yourself this question. Would you work with somebody or trust somebody that their life is perfect? No. Or they claim to be perfect? No. Because if your life is to be perfect, like when things hit the fan, you're not going to know how to deal with it. So be more authentic, be more real, share things about you. And there's true power in sharing vulnerability and weakness. It connects you with others. And again, I'll close with this. To really do well at sales, 3-step process. It's amazing, guys, how Aristotle had Aristotle said character, emotion, reason, metaphors, conciseness. We say today, establish emotion, build trust, provide logic. Crazy how Aristotle 3,000 years ago said this, and now we here today say this. Again, establish emotion, build trust, provide logic. But the establishment of the emotion comes from, like Larry and Daryl said, the authenticity, the value, the emotional connection. That's where your real power is. That's how our brain has grown so much. So take it from me, Larry and Daryl, be real. It'll get you a hell of a lot further than being fake.
Oh, that's so good.
Boom.
So good.
Oh, what a great way to end. Marques, just
You're awesome.
Thank you so much for sharing with us today. You are a true inspiration. This has been fantastic.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
We'll catch you soon.
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
Awesome. Wow. We got started a day late, but we got started strong right there, Larry.
Lord. Hey, but here's what was interesting. Bring this to a close, and then we'll let everyone get on with their day. And we appreciate you all hanging out with us. Isn't it interesting at the very end of this? It's heart and trust.
That's right.
Emotion, heart, build trust. Watch what happens to your sales and the strength of your relationships.
That's right. Well, we've got a great day tomorrow. Before I announce our guest tomorrow, though, I put in the chat access to the LinkedIn group for this challenge. Go ahead and join that. We've got to approve you. It's a private group, so we'll get to that at some point. But you want to meet the other people in this challenge. This is a fantastic group of people. Second of all, VIP access. If you want some cool swag and you want to join us on Thursday evening at 5 o'clock Eastern for a VIP reception with some of our presenters and fellow participants, definitely do that. Get your free pass to the Selling from the Heart Insiders group. And Larry, tomorrow. Tomorrow it's gonna be good.
So I gotta roll this out, Daryl. Y'all are in for a treat with Don Barden. Don Barden comes to us courtesy of our near and dear friend, our coach and our mentor, Dave Sanderson. You don't want to miss this. In fact, he's the author of this book, The Perfect Plan. Book. Absolutely amazing book. He's a gifted gentleman. He happens to be Dave Sanderson's mentor. Y'all are in for a treat tomorrow with this one.
Yeah, I was saying bring a notepad, get ready to take some notes. You're going to learn a lot tomorrow. This is a challenge, though, and we want to challenge you to take what you learned today from Marques, put it into action. In fact, I'm curious, what are you going to put into action? And I want to challenge you to post that, put a video, put a post in the LinkedIn group. What did you take away from Marques that you're going to put into action to build trust in your life? Thank you. And in your business, with your clients, with your prospects. Larry, we're off to a great start. Tomorrow, we're live again, 12 o'clock Eastern. That's 9 o'clock on the West Coast. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you for joining us today for the 2021 Trust Building Challenge. Building trust requires action. Your challenge to take what you have learned today and work together to put it into action right away. If you enjoyed the ideas and inspiration you've received today, please take a moment to share this challenge with your friends and clients. Let's all take action. We'll see you again tomorrow.